Okay. Okay, can you hear me? Nice. By the way, I'm not a rocket scientist. I don't know who said that, but okay, I take it. I take it. I take it. It's okay. It's okay. Nice. Okay, so welcome everyone. This presentation is about how to learn Web3. So I'll show some steps from personal experience that helped me to learn some stuff. And of course, I'm still learning Web3. So let's say I've been learning Web3 for about 1 year. I come from the DevOps world, and now I'm more into Web3 as I am on this stage today. So, I'm Francesco. I'm a developer advocate at daily.dev. I'm also a Docker captain. There's also the Docker stand today here. I greet them. And I'm very active on social media. Maybe I've been too much active on social media. Let me check 1 second. OK. And very active on YouTube, Twitter, and Discord, mainly. So when we want to learn something new, this can be front-end, back-end, DevOps, Web3, something else. The problem is always, OK, where should I start? Should I start with an article? Should I start with a book? Should I start with a video? So there are different ways to start. And I think that the very best way to start is with an article. By the way, in this presentation, I'll showcase some stuff also to some people that I know. So I say that this presentation is unbiased, but maybe I can be biased with some of my friends. For example, another debit, I met him just yesterday, and he posted this article on FreeCodeCamp, if you know that. And the article is not super new, and it's called "What is Web3: The Decentralized Internet of the Future Explained." I think it has also been shared on social media by the brother of Elon Musk. So I think this article is a good way to start. I mean, okay. And now, I'm not a huge fan of roadmaps because they can be deceiving. They can be super long. I don't know if you have ever seen those kind of roadmaps like long like that, and they're very hard to follow. But yet, like I have like 10 people, 20 people per day asking, please, Francesco, make a roadmap about this, about that. So, to roadmap or not to roadmap. If you want to start with a roadmap, you can check this one by Vitto, Complete Web 3.0 and Solidity Development Roadmap. It's about 1 year old, but I think it's still super relevant, and so this is also a good one. Before I continue, all these links that I'm talking about, they will be on an article or somewhere, so no worries because they will be available. Okay. So where to start with Web3? Or let's say the blockchain. I prefer blockchain term more than Web3, but Web3 term is a bit shorter. So there are many fundamental concepts, and fundamentals are fundamental. And I will not list them all, but you can read them. So differences between Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. Some crypto basics. What is a smart contract? What is a decentralized app? Which is a wallet? If you have seen some other presentations, probably you also heard some of these terms. Two interesting concepts are block explorers, which are basically a way to see what's happening on a blockchain. There is something called Etherscan for Ethereum, for example. And another interesting concept is the blockchain oracles. So when I started to learn the blockchain, I said, OK, but how can I interact with the blockchain with the existing web? Because do I use like a sort of API, an HTTP request? Is that like an isolated word? And the answer is that to get and put some data from the blockchain to the existing Web 2 world, the World Wide Web, we can use something called oracles. There is something called Chainlink, which is a decentralized system of oracles. And it's basically a system to get data that already exists. Otherwise, we should create everything from scratch since the beginning. I don't think in that case it will be ideal. And also a good intro to NFT and DAO. I heard also the presentation before mine. So this is just to get an idea of what an NFT, what a decentralized autonomous organization is. Nice. So we can have two different approaches, basically. We can have a multi-chain approach since the beginning, so working on different blockchains, or decide to just focus on one blockchain. There are some advantages, but I think that the best solution is to understand the concept of one blockchain at the beginning. This doesn't mean that we will work with that blockchain forever, but it can help to focus on just a subset of things that make sense for a single blockchain. There are many blockchains. I have a list of blockchain. I have a GitHub repository when I list everything I share. And there are at the moment, I think, at least 40, maybe 50 valid blockchain projects. And I think this is also one of the reasons why that got me interested into Web3, because it's not just a single blockchain that can fail and we just go home, everyone. It's a blockchain is it's already an ecosystem, and the whole Web3 is an ecosystem of ecosystems. So probably some blockchain, they're good, they're bad, some of them will fail, but I think that this whole ecosystem will stay. Probably we will see less blockchains in the future. So my choice to a beginner would be to start learning Ethereum for three main reasons. The first one is that it already has a kind of solid, in quotes, solid ecosystem compared to other blockchains. It has a bigger community. This means that if you have a problem, it will be easier to find the solution. And this for a developer is everything. Okay. And the last one is also that I think there are more unbiased resources to learn, because, of course, if you choose a blockchain and you go on their documentation, they'll say that that's the best blockchain ever, everything is super fast, you will never need for another blockchain, but of course, this cannot be true, can also be something very bad. And okay, so still going on the concepts, there are some basic concepts that I think that are important to understand for Ethereum. I'll not list them all, but I think, for example, what is gas, nodes and clients, the structure, the EVM, which is the Ethereum virtual machine, and also, for example, the consensus algorithm, the beacon chain, side chain, and I think less than 1 week ago, we had the merge. How many of you know that the merge happened? Okay, nice. This is great. I made a live stream of me watching the merge, and I got distracted in the same exact moment. But okay, nice. Okay, so again, on some still on some concepts, there are some concepts that are a bit, let's say, advanced. So in quotes that are optional if you want to just go straight into code. I like to understand things. I have more, let's say, a math brain, so I like to read some stuff, and I just list 4 of them. One is the Ethereum white paper, which is basically an explanation of what Ethereum is. Another one is the Ethereum trilemma, which is basically the problem that a blockchain can't be at the same time decentralized, secure, and scalable. It's like having someone cheap, fast, and good. So it's very hard to find the spot in the middle. There's also an article by Vitalik Buterin, which is the founder of Ethereum. And it's called Endgame. I think it's been released in 2020 during the Marvel Endgame series. So he got inspired for the title. It's about like a vision of the future of Ethereum. And the last one is something called yellow paper, not because it's yellow, but it's because there are some explanation also from a math point of view. The last one is not really beginner-friendly, so you have to know some math basics, we can say. But it can be interesting to understand how the Ethereum blockchain works. Okay. Okay, now, to write smart contracts, to interact with the Ethereum virtual machine and the Ethereum ecosystem, we are lucky because we have a choice. So we can choose among two possible languages. And by the way, for the record, I put Rust there, not because I don't like Rust, but just as because Rust is more for the Solana blockchain. So if at the beginning you chose Solana instead of Ethereum, you can go with that, of course. So, but since we are talking about Ethereum, you can choose between Viper and Solidity. Both are valid, but Viper, it's more suggested for people who are Python developers. So it comes more for the Python language. And the Solidity language comes from, let's say, more JavaScript, but also Python and C++ developers. So my choice in this case, it will be to go with the Solidity programming language. How many people have ever heard about the Solidity programming language? Okay, nice. Only people on the left. I don't know why. Okay, so Solidity is basically an object-oriented, high-level programming language. It's a curly bracket language. And if you see on the right, you see some Solidity code. And if at the first glance, it can also seem almost like JavaScript, we can say, almost. We see pragma, Solidity, contract, but it looks a bit more like JavaScript. It has some influences by C++, Python, and JavaScript, as I said. And it has semicolons. I'm sorry for Python developers. And it's statically typed, support inheritance. It has libraries. And I just want to say that you don't need the Solidity to write a smart contract. But I think it's good at least to have some basics with Solidity, and then you can move on. There are other ways. You can also write a smart contract in JavaScript or Python. But I personally like the approach of Solidity, at least to understand what's going on. Okay, so let's list some of the Solidity resources. And here I'll ask again, how many of you know the Remix IDE framework? Not many people. We had the Kent Dodds. I met him. I made a selfie, but I didn't have time to put this in the presentation. In the next one, I'll make the selfie with Kent Dodds. Remix IDE is basically a browser-based IDE, which can sound not very good, but it's especially for the Solidity development. It's great because, to be honest, setting up a local development environment for the blockchain for a beginner, it's not super easy. There are some things that you have to know, and you can get stuck. Of course, I took the hard way, so I tried to do this on the local development environment at the beginning, so I lost, let's say, some time. So now I think that I would suggest to start with that. The Solidity docs are also good. Solidity cheat sheet, there are not many of them. If you are a content creator, I think it's a good opportunity to create one. I created one, and I update it every 1 month, 2 months, and I give it for free. So it can also be a good idea, like I have a newsletter or social media, I'll share it. Like every 2 months, there is a new version. And I just want to mention 2 good tutorials. The first one is cryptozombies.io. It's the first one that I made. It uses gamification. So basically, you will build a zombie-like game with this kind of tools. And the style is, I like it because you have what you should do on there is an explanation what you should do on the left part, and on the right part you can code and then click and then test what the solution. And if the solution is correct, you can keep going. It's like the style. Other good series of tutorials are the Learn Web3 tutorial, Learn Web3 DAO tutorial, learnweb3dao.io, I think. And there is a very good set of tutorials that starts since the beginning. They have a sort of quizzes, and then there is some coding part. Nice. Okay. About video resources, I would like to mention some some channels that I like to use. I start from here, from the bottom. There is DAP University. His name is Gregory, I think. And he's not, I think, sometimes he makes some live streams also on the crypto part, but also the coding part is very good. Then the part on the bottom right is Solidity Contract Programmer. He goes really straight to the point, so you don't see like RGB cool stuff, but it's just like coding and explanation. So very, very simple, but very, very effective, I can say. And then at the top, not one, but two videos of Patrick Collins on FreeCodeCamp. The one on the right is for Python developers, and it's older, but it's still relevant for sure. And this one, the blockchain Solidity smart contract using JavaScript, is a 32 hours video. I'm not joking. How many of you know about the existence of this video? Someone? OK, so I have to say that I finished this video yesterday, before coming here to Croatia. It took me like 4 months to make, but I made it. So you don't have to do this in 2 or 3 sits, but I can say that it's heavy, it's massive, but it's complete. And it's also updated, because the problem also is that, for example, also with Solidity, the resources which are like 1-2 years old, they tend to get outdated kind of fast, like you miss some words, there are some breaking changes, so it's very important to have something which is still available and compatible. Okay, so now I'll list some tools and frameworks. Probably many of you already know many of them, but I think it's good to mention them. So one is MetaMask, which is basically gives you the identity and replaces the authentication for the Web2 part. It's good because it's very easy to get started with that. So you can just use this as a browser extension. You can also use this in different ways, but that's like the most famous one. Truffle is a framework that also helps you to test smart contract. Hard Hat, it's becoming, I don't know if it's my current favorite one, but I will probably use Hard Hat now to make a tutorial. So it's very, I think it's the newest one, I'm not sure. And Brownie is more for Python developers. And to be honest, to be completely honest, I haven't tried the Foundry yet. So I put it here, but I haven't tried it yet. So still have to give it a test with that, but I heard good things about that. So this is also something that you can use. OK, now, how many of you are front-end developers? Not many. OK. OK, so usually front-end developers, they have to, I don't know why, but you have to learn a new framework every 2 months. There is a new shiny framework and some stuff. OK. Instead, for Web3, there are good news, which is that you don't have to learn everything from scratch. You can just use some libraries that allows you to fetch data from the blockchain, if you want to say it like that. And there are like Web3.js, Ethers.js, and also Alchemy Web3 API and React Moralis. So they are basically a way to interact with the blockchain, but you don't really need some specific skills as a front-end developer. So once you get used to these libraries, you're ready to go. I have many friends who are like, they are front-end developers, but they are working for Web3 companies, but they are not writing smart contracts. Okay. Also good to mention the decentralized storage. So I just mentioned them, IPFS, Rwave, and Filecoin. In the previous video, the 32 hours one, there is a very good example of both of them for IPFS and Filecoin at least. And this is also something that we are going more into the more advanced stuff. And some, OK, so going on some more mid-level tools, of course, I think that what is still a bit lacking in Web3 is like the testing part, but there are these frameworks like Waffle and Ganache. OpenZeppelin is great because it helps you to have basically an implementation of a token, so it helps you to code, and it's also a very good open source project you can just use what has been written by someone. You can also make the contribution to Open Zeppelin. Also, Oktoberfest is close, so it's also good to have some ideas of some good open source project if you want to contribute. And then Wallet Connect is good to have, basically to connect with mobile wallets using QR codes. Chainlink is the de facto standard as the blockchain oracles. So this is also something, they also have a good documentation. And the last but not least, the graph is basically a tool for indexing by API data on the blockchain. And you can use them using a GraphQL schema. It's very powerful. Okay, just want to mention that there are also SDKs. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of using SDKs since the day one, because you're not sure of what's going on under the hood. I can understand that they are easy to use, but I don't know, I like the hard part, the first understanding everything on my own and then using something. But Alchemy, Third Web, and Moralis, they have good SDKs also to write smart contracts in just one line of code, doing something super easy. But I think this should be a step after everything I said before. Okay. One part on the Web3 is that, as has been, let's say, a bit criticized, is that, okay, but what can I build? What can I do? And I found this, okay, the slide is not the perfect one, but I found this Solidity by example.org, which basically what the link says. So basically you can build from a very simple one to more advanced. They have been cut off, but more advanced projects. And of course, you can make some changes. I also see that many tutorials, they refer to this. So this is also a good one to start. I'll play more with this one in the future. And 1 second. Okay, so we're almost at the end, but I just want to remind you just a couple of things that helped me to understand more things about Web3. So the first one is the building public. So since Web3 it's a new ecosystem, if we start to share what we learn since the beginning, it's a bit awkward at the beginning, but it really helps the process of learning to be way, way faster. I say this by experience because, for example, I learned the Docker, everything private. So when you're stuck, you get stuck 2 weeks, 1 week, and you hate yourself. Instead, in public, maybe there are some moments when someone will criticize you, especially at the beginning, because you you learn something and you share some tips, or you make an article, or you can create a video, you can make a live stream. The very good things are that by building in public, first of all, you can build an audience that can help. But the most important part is that by sharing what you learn, you start to being connected with the people who have the same interest. For example, if you start sharing some Solidity tips, even if you're just getting started, maybe just one day ago, people who are also learning Solidity will start to contact you. They say, okay, what are you doing? And you can do projects together, you can do some collaboration. So I think this is a very important part to accelerate the process on how to learn Web3. I'm a huge fan of building in public because I saw that this speed me up the whole process, of course. And the very last one, I think this is very important, join a community. Why? Because joining a community and being active in a community, joining a community is like making a subscription to a gym. Of course, if you just pay and you don't go, maybe it's not the best analogy, but it's very important that once you become a part of a community, start to interact with the people there. And I would like, and I think especially from the learning process, the learning point of view, and as I said before, being connected with people with the same interests, that they want to do the same things, or maybe in a community there are some people who have some ideas and they share with you. And I just want to mention 3 communities. The first one is Developer DAO. How many of you know Developer DAO? Ever heard? Just one person. Okay. And it's basically a community of developers focused on the Web3 building stuff. Then there is the Learn Web3 DAO, which is basically the community of the tutorial that I mentioned before. I think it is especially good for students or people who really want to learn even since the beginning. They have, as I said, a tutorial. It's linked to a very heartwarming community, and this is a great way to. I'm also active a bit there, you can say. And the last is a community that I created. Is basically a community of content creators, and Web3 is a part of this bigger community, but the community is kind of small. And so if you want to be involved into content creation and Web3, you can join that one. I leave the link there. And yes, I just want to say that this presentation will be posted online soon and, of course, free. I think I'll upload this tomorrow because today I want to relax. So tomorrow I'll upload this presentation on the social media and some other stuff. Okay, so if you are interested. And also, I want to say that this presentation is linked to an article when, of course, there are all the links. So this is just to say about the technologies, and then that's it. Okay, so let me try. Havalavam. How was that? Okay. Okay, nice. Okay, and that's my Twitter handle. Can I take a selfie? I don't know, I'm a bit social, so let me try, and then we can take the questions. Otherwise, I'll forget. Let's go. Perfect. Okay, I'm done, and if we have